Shy Bro, Father James with Father Hank and Kevin Gregus.
Whoop.
And we're also, once again, have a guest lecturer here,
Hello.
John Rahimi.
Hi, John.
The topic of conversation here is podcasting banter.
Banter.
So we all know that those of you who are listening only listen to our podcast. But in the hypothetically, if you listen to some other...
Listen to The Catch,
or what's yours?
The Chicago Inquisition.
The St. Emily podcast and the
You guys
consecration
are
of St. Joseph.
Am I the only one that has one podcast? I
Gosh,
feel
what a
so
loser.
inferior. Yeah, just an old man here. But there's some podcasts that are longer than Shy Bro, and they have a good amount of banter before they lead into the topic. And there's people that don't like this. There's people that like it. So, like, what's the podcast that classically has banter?
Catholic stuff you should know.
Okay, and so what's the deal with this podcast?
It's four priests out in Denver. They're part of the Companions for Christ in Denver. They started it when they were still in seminary, and it's
kind of like you guys.
Yeah, it's continued. This is the 11th year it's existed, and it's great. It's just they hang out, and it's funny but very informative. But as they've grown, they've developed this thing. And the first probably 5 to 15 minutes of the episode is just kind of talking about life, whatever is happening. There's some people who really love it, like myself and John, and there's some people who don't like it. It's a waste of time. Like, get me to the topic, get me to the meat, get me to the content.
By the way, I feel like this is a Seinfeld podcast, like an episode, a
What's
show
the
about
deal?
nothing. Yeah, this is a banter episode about banter.
It's very meta.
Yeah. So Catholic stuff you should know. They banter, and John, you were bringing up the point that some people like hate this, and but your brother Ben,
Yes.
who is also very brilliant, and the Rahimis are just smart
Rock stars.
smart rock stars.
Persians, yes.
Persian rock stars. That should be the name of another podcast. You start.
Persian rock
Ben and I will eventually come on our podcast.
There it is, yeah.
Persians.
We've tossed the idea around.
What is Ben's point?
This is Ben's point. Yeah, so we'll give credit to Ben.
Yeah, this is
Rahimi.
definitely Ben's thing.
Yeah.
What's Ben's point?
So Ben
banter.
likes to write, and he wrote an article a while ago based on a conversation he had with someone who hates banter. And it was more him just kind of outpouring his anger and frustration on the paper. But he loves Catholic stuff. He's good friends with Father John Nuppel. He was in Rome with him for a year. And so Ben's point basically is to say kind of what we talked about with the movies and stuff, that we've become consumer oriented, and we only want the matter and we don't want the form. So we've kind of broken apart the wholeness of the podcast.
Gold, Jerry. Gold.
And so we just want the content, which is the matter, but we don't want the form in which it's delivered, which is the persons who deliver the content to us. We kind of want to remove them and just give me what I want to know. And
Brother is a Thomist.
Yeah.
Yeah, so real quick, Hank, what's matter for him?
God.
Yeah.
One year
Put
out
down
of
that Twinkie and answer the question.
Feel free to correct me. Matter is the actual reality thing, and form actually informs what it should be. So form is kind of the essence of...
So like what is for the sacraments?
like, say, pages and words, that's the matter, but the form would be the book. So form, like, gives the story and puts everything into the pages and the story.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Did that make sense?
Yeah, so it's
Is
like...
that
Not
banter?
really. I have no idea what you just said.
Like the matter would be like the wood of this table.
Bread and wine.
And then like the form is that it is a table.
Words of institution.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So people just... It's a fast... They don't want the circumstances. They want just the...
Yeah, and I think with
content,
with
you know,
podcasts, you can find people like, it's the personalities that people don't want, because some people that don't get along with certain personalities, there's certain parts of them like, oh, it's annoying, or it's long or frustrating, and so they just want to remove that, and they just want to take in what they want. So there's kind of a controlling dimension there.
Almost rejecting of the person. Like,
Yeah,
I don't want
ultimately.
you, I just want your ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you said
Yeah,
you guys will just
absolutely.
listen to like a Catholic Answers podcast.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
read the catechism.
Because like, what is? I mean, I want to ask you guys, like, your podcast.
Whoa, I asked the questions.
Shut your mouth.
Your place.
But you guys, like, this is a heavy banter oriented, very informal kind of like, it's your personalities really shine through, I think, when we listen. So
Yeah,
I mean, is that intentional?
Kind
I have
of.
a
Yeah,
personality.
I think that's Shy Bro has been.
Like you want people to see your personalities, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's part.
It's
That's why
behind the
people.
rectory.
Yeah, people were attracted to it. I think early on because it was like us.
The garage is behind the rectory.
Yeah.
Right.
Ooh, nice. It was. We did this
Oh,
during
your place.
quarantine, and wow, Father Hank just shut down Kevin.
You never got to do this before. It's just that you have a peon below you that you can.
It's true. Yeah, Hank's no longer the.
Yeah,
Hank's like the
it's
middle
pretty great.
child.
Yeah.
So messed up. Yeah.
So much to
What do you think, Kevin, about banter? Do you like it?
I'm big pro banter.
Pro banter.
Just because it feels like I always like for the podcast where you feel like you're at the table with someone, like, and you're kind of like overhearing, like listening in on someone's conversation. Like one of my favorite things at Mundelein is to just be at the like the lunch or dinner table and just the conversations that happen. Sometimes they're very serious and theological. That's pretty rare. It's pretty rare actually. Most of the time, most of the time, it's talking about just random stuff or ripping off each other, making jokes, and it's a lot of fun, and that's what the banter feels like to me. Is you're getting to know the person. Sometimes it can be a little weird though. Like I feel like I know the guys better than I actually do.
Right.
Oh,
like you know what I mean? Like
it's
like it's like I know someone, like I would somehow know them even though I've never met them. I might have once in real life, but they even addressed that too. Of like people think that they know them even though all you've done is listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
And it can be that's a little. That's the negative side of the banter right there.
It's like the radio personalities, like the disc jockeys. They kind of bring their own flavor and stuff to it.
Right.
And kind of get to know them.
Yeah, I mean, the hope would be it's like it would encourage approachability that someone can come and talk to you versus saying like, I know them, I don't need to go talk to them.
Right.
But it's a cool way to.
We made those. It was with social media. We were talking about that. Yeah.
It's
Sorry.
a cool way to like teach without it being a lecture.
Yes.
Because if you just see, it's almost like eavesdropping in on like just how we can talk about theology and things about faith or anything.
Normal
Casual circumstances.
Yeah.
Sure.
Without being like, hey guys, you want to talk about the Bible?
That's like
a chosen Bible study series.
Oh yeah, it's a brilliant idea.
Yeah. Kevin's been doing that. So, okay, interesting. So, spiritual connections or
it encourages vulnerability, at least on the person who's podcasting.
It's true.
Which is great, and and the way that you guys are doing it right with the one take instead of like editing it away to make sure everything's kind of perfect and clean. It's just here's ourselves, here's our humanity.
One take only.
You don't get to like parse the person out into form and match. Like they're whole.
Yeah, what you see is what you get. Yeah. So let's be vulnerable right now with our thousands of viewers. No.
We have thousands of viewers.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I don't want that. Any other spiritual connections with the need for banter? So, Father Hank, are you a pro banter guy then?
I'm pro banter. I think there is kind of an interesting nuance if you're not getting into the meat right away. But I think that's just kind of what our Lord kind of did with the parables. You're not going straight into like intense theology. You're pulling things from creation to see the context, to see how to see your life like fuller. Yeah. And then it's like boom, it's like eternal life is hidden underneath.
Yeah. You know, when I pray, it doesn't immediately go into the interior most interior castle. Yeah. It's Saint Teresa or
That's why I love Psalm 63.
Hear me,
Lord,
it's like complain.
Yeah. Wait,
I was going to bring up with my prayer with the banter. You stole my point, but I'll let you do
sorry,
it.
No.
Yeah. No, bow down to the master here.
Yeah,
but
right. Good.
Yeah, it's the fact that just like the banter is just like ease into it and kind of like, because otherwise you're thinking about the band. Like if you don't sometimes get that kind of stuff out of the way you're thinking about most immediately, then you there's something that's blocking you from really revealing your true self. So kind of like putting a lot of things out there, like, it might be meaningless ultimately, but it's just kind of getting it out there and like this is. Well, it's not meaningful, but it is what I'm thinking about. It is right. It is exactly.
Stuff.
Yeah, right. Because we banter about the things that are real to us, right? We're not bantering about like things we don't care about, like Beanie Babies.
I think that's important in your prayer life because so much we can get caught up in I have to recite the Our Father perfectly, or it's like a performance before God, we're intimidated before God, but really, God gives us His Son Jesus, and it's a person. How does a person reveal himself? It's just a little banter, and then you kind of tumble into something deep.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't.
And sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're just hanging out with the Lord.
So for those of you who don't like banter, this podcast will be 10 minutes long. So tune in at about, 9 the 9:05 mark
9:05
to
we
get
talk
the
about
actual content. So, anyways, good to be with you. Thank you, John, Kevin, and Father Hank. God bless.
All right.
Peace.
Bye.